Part 2. You've heard me throw shade at Democrats, now to do it for the other side. And explain a little bit of why, well, you read the title. Okay. So, yeah, apologies for the interruption. It's family stuff. Moving on. So, yeah. The reason I could never join the Republican Party is it's a shadow of what it used to be. What do I mean by that? If you paid attention in history class, you would know that the Republican Party started out as the party of Abraham Lincoln, who, yes, I understand, has come under flack in recent years, and a lot of the flack he receives is pretty well deserved. But the party that was founded on the sole principle of getting rid of slavery has lost its way. It's no longer what it was, all the way from its founding in the 1850s to the platform swap in the 1960s. Something that every time I bring up that the Confederates happen to be Democrats, a certain Democrat I know, won't list him here, but but I know he's probably watching this. A certain Democrat I know loves to bring up the platform swap. To bring up how, after the 1960s, the parties have switched their platforms. Yeah, well, when talking about the Civil War, which happened 100 years prior to that, given the fact that it was 100 years before, kind of makes that irrelevant now, doesn't it? I could never join Republicans because you guys are way, way too far on the side of Donald John Trump. Okay, time to discuss that. A lot of my friends and family wonder, what do I really think of Donald Trump? Here's probably where I lose every friend I have on the conservative side, but I think he's an asshole. Donald Trump as a person, is obnoxious, self-obsessed, self-glorifying and self-gratifying, Twitter obsessed, and his biggest character flaw of them all: the man does not shut up. I've heard liberals say that Trump is racist or sexist, and to be fair, I can't tell you you're right or wrong. A lot of his verbiage and a lot of his actions are asinine. As a person, Donald Trump is your stereotypical rich dude. As a politician, honestly, I didn't pay him much attention during his first term. Why? Well, during his first term, I was pretty much, for the first 2 years of it, 2017 to 18, I was in high school. So I focused mainly on that. And for the last 2 years of his term, 2019 to 20, I was mostly focused on my own damn life. Still discussed the issue of politics with friends and family every so often, but that's mostly where it stopped. We were mostly focusing on our own damn lives at the time. And so what do I think of Trump as either a person or a politician? He is really only important in his own century. If there are future generations of humanity, or whatever species replaces us when God gets tired of our bullshit, They'll probably hear the name Donald Trump in 1,000 years, and he'll be like every other U.S. president between Washington and Lincoln. The high school students of that era that is yet to come to us will hear the name Donald Trump, scratch their heads, and shout so loud the next classroom over can hear them. How? I know I did when I first heard his name. Yeah. What do I think of Donald Trump as he is annoying? And I know everybody who doesn't like the guy is going to write in the comments, "Oh, he's racist. Oh, he's a rapist. Oh, he's so terrible." That's all your opinions. What he did as president? Honestly? He's like every other in this century. He's like every other president, period. He has his successes, he has his failures. He has actions that will help the United States, and he has actions that are total asinine. Can you say January 6th? He's a human being, the same as every single U.S. president was, the same as you and I. The only difference is he's a bit more childish and has more money. And was kind of enabled by his rich-ass daddy. So, is he a good person? Is he a bad person? I can't say that because I've never met him personally. But from what I've seen, I don't think I want to. He's just like any other president between the greats that we talk about. He's just another one. Is he the worst? No, that's still James Buchanan. You can tell me all you want about any other U.S. president. James Buchanan will always be the absolute worst president the U.S. has ever seen. Buchanan's character is seldom talked about. We just know that as president, he's the worst one we've had as politicians go. I'll look into his character whenever I can. But as a politician, James Buchanan still remains, indeed, the worst president the U.S. has ever known. But now that you've heard me throw shade at both of these ass-backwards political parties, I find political parties to be an absolute waste of time. Neither of these two political parties has ever been 100% who I, my family, or my friends are. Each one has its ups and its downs. Each one has its good people and its terrible people. And the media just shows the terrible people from the other side. In fact, I'm going to ask a question to whoever is viewing this video. If you have aligned yourself with either the Democratic or the Republican Party, tell me one decision within the past 40 years alone, just the past 40 years, a decision made by the party you have aligned yourself with that you do not agree. Anywhere from the 1980s to the 2020s. And you can't do something from the other party. It has to be your own. And now, on to what this video is titled. Why you should not fear Project 2025. Get out of the window. Get out of the window. Why you should not fear 2020. Dog, seriously. Why you should not fear Project 2025. Do you ever stop? Get down. Get down! Okay, why you should not fear Project 2025. I used to say there were 6 reasons why you should not fear this toilet paper with words put on it by rich assholes. But now I'm just going to do 3. Just 3 reasons why you should not fear Project 2025. What is Project 2025? A list of ultra-conservative and ultra-Christian proposals written by the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation. A group of selfish, petty-ass, rich mama's boys and rich daddy's girls who just cannot stand the fact that not rich people have the same rights and liberties they do. Ooh. And it just drives them so mad that us not rich people have those same rights and liberties. Yeah, well, kiss my ass, upper class. Yes. Okay, so 3 reasons. Just 3 why you should not fear this toilet paper with words written on it. Reason number 1. A good portion of these proposals require military and law enforcement to be entirely on board. And I'm going to ask, do you think that every cop, firefighter, sheriff, soldier, Marine, sailor, and airman in the entire United States is just going to go along with this? Do you believe that every single one is going to just accept orders to be used on innocent civilians who have no idea how to fight back? Do you think every single one is just so bad that they would either agree or just blindly follow orders? If your answer is yes, then you are both dumber and blinder than the entire Ku Klux Klan, and you have to be very dumb, very blind, or both to be more than those people. Klan aren't even people, they're fucking things. The purpose of the U.S. military is to defend this country, not its president. Defending him is partly a priority, but he does not come before the people of the United States. When you enter military service, you take an oath of loyalty to your country, not to the president personally. And I want all of you to stop and think just how many of our brave men and women in uniform whose loyalty is to this country are going to fight against the very people they have sworn to protect. How many of them will just not question this order? Just up and take it? Oh, but they have to because Trump is commander-in-chief. There are 2 circumstances in which soldiers, sailors, airmen, etc. may defy orders, even if those orders come from the commander-in-chief. Circumstance number 1. If the order places you or those under your command in unnecessary danger. Example, ordering an infantry battalion, that's the regular foot soldier for those who don't speak military, to charge an enemy fortress where you don't have tank support and the enemy does. That's putting yourself and your troops in unnecessary danger, and you can easily defy that order. Circumstance number 2. if the order given contradicts the Constitution of the United States, which damn near every aspect of Project 2025 does. So yeah. Plus, also, another portion of Project 2025 says that Trump could just remove career civil servants, including generals and admirals who have been with the military for 40 plus years and are probably the most skilled and experienced commanders he would have. And he can replace them with total idiots who are loyal to him personally. Which means that if he does that, all the idiots under his command are going to do is just wait for orders from him and be totally fucking worthless in the circumstance that he wants them in. Kind of renders your fear of the military redundant there, doesn't it? But indeed, I want you all liberals who are so terrified of this project to remember how many of our troops are loyal to their country, not the president on a personal level. Law enforcement, as I said last time, I know that the hatred of law enforcement in this country has gotten severely out of control, much of it for good reason. But how many cops in America really are just bad people? I say again, if you think that every single cop in America is this racist bastard, bad person, just everything wrong, and if you think that's every single police officer in America, maybe even the world, you're dumber and blinder than the injustice you claim you fight against. I'm fortunate in that most of the cops I've met, their duty was to their city, their county, their state, their country. I'm fortunate enough that that's all the military and law enforcement personnel I've met are people who put their country before some orange asshole who happens to hold the title Commander-in-Chief. And most of them, be they current or retired, will happily defy this project, even if they're ordered to comply with it. They would either join the people fighting against it or get out of the way. The ones that comply or are loyal or are corrupt, they will die. They will die. So that's reason number 4, that the military and law enforcement are not entirely Trump's lackeys. And we all have to remember that. Why'd I say reason 4? Because it's 4th on my list, but I skipped the first 3 because they're kind of redundant now. Reason number 2, people keep bitching and moaning that Republicans have the, control about the Senate and House. A, how many Republicans actually support Project 2025? And B, even if they do, people tend to forget the third branch of government, the Supreme Court of the United States. Even if this proposal does pass 2/3 of Congress, and even if the president does approve it, that's the last hurdle it would have to go through, the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court declares something unconstitutional, which, if they have brains in their skulls, they will declare Project 2025 unconstitutional, well then it's dead in the fucking water. So yeah, if the Supreme Court says no, they're done with this Project 2025 thing. Yeah. And finally, the third and final reason I'm going to give you, even if this project does pass all 3 branches of government, and even if so many members of the military and every form of law enforcement do just comply. That only means it's time for the American people to fend for ourselves for a change. All that it means is that the time has come to fight. It only means full well that it's time for the modern people to do in the 2020s what Washington and his friends did in the 1770s. Revolution. But that was such a long time ago. All that tells me is it's been a long time since we've had to. And now it's getting to a point where we may have to again. But the US Army is like the most powerful in the world. Yeah, and back in the day that was Britain's army. Washington and so forth, outnumbered, outgunned, etc., still won. It took a long time and it was not easy, but they still won. Seldom are the best things you can accomplish accomplished so easily. By the time I record this, it's only November 8th, 2024. Donald Trump has not yet been inaugurated as president. Project 2025 is not yet in motion. But in the event it does become even probable, I urge you, my fellow Americans, to stand up for yourselves, to stop hiding behind failed political institutions, to stop hiding in your homes and cowering, and resist against the walls of tyranny. If you wish to flee the United States and go to Canada, Europe, Japan, or Australia, or wherever else you wish to go, you are free to. And that is your choice. But I plan on staying, and I plan on fighting all that I must. They say freedom is not free. But when the chips are down and you must fight for yourself, then the chips are down. And I know I shouldn't quote a cartoon/video game character, but in the immortal words of Optimus Prime, this is our home. We will stay. We will fight. And we will win. Very true, a second American Revolution could take just as long or maybe longer than the original, but it will be worth it. If you leave, go ahead, but just know that you will miss out on the chance to tear down the walls of oppression and make the world's greatest nation even greater. I will never be either Democrat or Republican, but I know when freedom is threatened. And I know that when I can no longer depend on the world's greatest army or the world's finest law enforcement, when the time has come for myself to stand up and fight for what I believe, that's what I will do. And I will ask you, my fellow Americans, in the event our government does do this stupid-ass project, will you fend for yourself, for your families, for your country, for your freedom? Resist however you can. Physically fight, write up newspapers, go online. Fight with your firearms, fight with your swords, pipes, your bare hands if you must. If Project 2025 ever is truly a threat to the American people, and we cannot count on my two previous points. All that signals to me is that the time has come. Honestly, I'm willing to bet that a lot of the people who voted for Donald Trump knew that this would happen. That they are people who are waiting for the chance to fight. But rather than wait for it, they're going to make it come to them. There are people in this country, namely down south, who hunt, fish, live simple lives, don't give one good damn about the frickin' U.S. government. They just want to live their lives. And if they feel threatened, they will fight. There are people who live lives surrounded by technology, and if threatened, they will fight. Maybe not well, but they will. No matter what walk of life you come from, I want you to know that in the event this project becomes a threat to you, to fight for yourself is a wise choice. At present, I don't believe it is. But in the event it is, you must be prepared. I know a lot of you are scared. I am too. But I know that the spirit of the American people, no matter how grim things look, is one that will never die. That the need for freedom lives in us all. And we will do what we must to keep it. And I believe that I believe in God. And I believe that He will help to fix man's mistakes, but man must put in his fair share as well. I believe that there will come a day that we must tear down our oppressor. Is he an oppressor yet? Not at this time. But if he becomes one, know that you have options. I love my country and my family, and I could never abandon either one. And so I leave you all with this. To the people who wish to flee, stay safe overseas, and know that you'll have to adjust to their laws. To those who wish to stay and fight with the revolution, if this happens, keep in mind, I don't know, we welcome you. And to Mr. Trump, I ask you one simple question, Donald. Are you really willing to sign this project? Because the bit of advice I'm going to give you, don't. Are you really willing to endanger everything you've worked for? Endanger yourself, your cabinet, your family, and your money, because I know that means the most to you, by signing an approval to some toilet paper made by your fellow rich jackasses, even when you know that there are many members of our military that will not protect you in the event you piss off your own people. That's my question for you, Donald. Are you that fucking stupid? I leave you all with this. I hope that this never has to happen. But if it does, we must be ready. This word here, free, is how we must remain. And with that, I've probably killed my YouTube channel. Next time will be something a bit less political, a bit more enjoyable. But I leave you all with this. Good night.